Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is of course our live game review of Everton's 2-1 victory against Newcastle at St James's Park last weekend. Another win for the Blues. Back-to-back Premier League wins for the first time in I don't know how long. I do know the last time we got back-to-back wins was early on in the season when I believe we beat Lincoln and then Wolves, but obviously one of those games was a cup game, so I don't know when the last time we got back-to-back Premier League wins was, but we've done it finally, and Carlo Ancelotti has extended his winning run with Everton. Of course, only managed 2 games with Everton and we've won both of them, Burnley on Boxing Day and of course Newcastle last weekend. And what a performance that was by Everton once again. What a brilliant show of game management it was by Carlo Ancelotti, and that is the difference between having a good manager and having a world-class manager. What we've seen in that second half and how Carlo Ancelotti informed the players to change the game because it wasn't working in the last 20 minutes of the first half is the difference between having an average Premier League manager and a serial winner and what we've got now, and that's why we ended up winning the game. What a brilliant performance it was by every single player again that put on an Everton shirt. Clinical Calvert-Lewin is the title of today's live stream because once again Dominic Calvert-Lewin was absolutely on fire. Another 2 goals for him last weekend, bringing his tally to 3 since Carlo Ancelotti has taken over, and Everton actually unbeaten in 5 now if you don't really count the defeat on penalties against Leicester. In Premier League games we've beaten Chelsea, we've drew against Manchester United and Arsenal, and obviously we've beaten Burnley and Newcastle, so 4 actually, turns out I can't count. But yeah, another absolutely fantastic performance by Dominic Calvert-Lewin. 2 really good goals. Couple of people mistaken on my instant match reaction when I said world class. I wasn't saying Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a world class player now, but the movement for the second goal, if you'd actually watch Dominic Calvert-Lewin's second goal again, the movement is that of a world class striker. It's world class movement. He gets in behind the defender. He understands where Richarlison's going to put that ball, and he makes sure that he is the only person available to put it in, and he does. And like I said, 2 fantastic strikers finishes to bring us tally to 3 since Carlo Ancelotti has taken over, and to win Everton our second game over this festive period. And it's amazing, isn't it? Because, 2 or 3, not even 2 or 3 weeks ago, 4 or 5 weeks ago, when obviously Marco Silva was still in charge and we've been beaten by Liverpool and we've been beaten by Norwich, and all of a sudden we were in the relegation zone coming into this real horrible period of Premier League fixtures. We'd just lost against Leicester very narrowly, and it was one of those where you're thinking, how many points realistically are we going to get against Chelsea, against Man United, against Arsenal, even against Burnley on Boxing Day, which is a horrible game, against Newcastle away, who have been fantastic at home this season. I believe Newcastle have only lost like 1 game at St James's Park this season before we came along. And all of a sudden you're sitting there and you're thinking, how many points are we going to get? We are going to really struggle. We were already in the relegation zone at that point, and it was only looking negative. It was only looking like we were going to continue to be in that relegation fight throughout, the Christmas period. All of a sudden, there's a change in manager. Duncan Ferguson comes in. Duncan Ferguson's done an absolutely fantastic job whilst he was in as interim manager. And then we bring in a serial winner in Carlo Ancelotti. And I still wake up every morning thinking, Carlo Ancelotti is the Everton manager. How has that happened? And off the back of his appointments, we've won 2 games in real good fashion. A real tough game against Burnley on Boxing Day, and a game against the Newcastle side that, like I said, have been absolutely fantastic at home this season. And with a pain in the arse for us on Saturday as well, they had like Andy Carroll, who obviously is a massive target man, and he caused us constant issues all day. But Carlo Ancelotti ensured that in that second half, every single player knew how to deal with Andy Carroll, knew how to deal with the rest of the Newcastle team, and that we went out and we got the winner, and then we just settled down and we just played good football. I said this in the Burnley review. Even though it was only 1 game at that time, and even though it's still only been 2 games, you could see that the quality of football, the quality that the lads are playing at is much more improved than what it was under Marco Silva. The passing is a lot better. The move for the second goal, okay, it's ruined by Williams, tackling Richarlison, I think it is, and getting the ball, but it goes back and forth from the defence to the midfield all the way up to Richarlison. He loses it for a second, wins it back, and then he bursts down the line, and it's a fantastic ball in to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and it really just shows that even that, week or two on the training, not even 2 weeks, a week and a half on the training ground with a serial winner like Carlo Ancelotti has improved these players vastly, because they're now understanding the importance of a 10-yard pass, a 15-yard pass, and making the right pass at the right time. I feel like under Marco Silva and other previous managers, it was always rushed. It wasn't the right decision. It was always, a wrong decision, whereas now the players seem to be making the right decisions, and we're getting the results to go with that. Another absolutely fantastic win. Like I said, Calvert-Lewin again on fire. Really, 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 really confident now, and you can see he's playing with confidence. He's got the backing of the manager. When you've got one of the best managers in world football, when you've got one of the best managers to ever live, literally saying that you're going to be one of the best strikers in Europe and you're going to be one of the best strikers in England and you're fantastic. Imagine how much confidence that's breeding for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and he's showing that on the pitch, and it's very clearly working. Carlo Ancelotti, whatever he's saying to him in the changing room, whatever he's saying to the press about Dominic Calvert-Lewin, is very clearly working, because he's going on the pitch, and in 2 games now, he's scored the winning goals for us in both games, and they've been, the goal against Burnley was a fantastic header, and the 2 against Newcastle were really, really good strikers, finishers, being in the right place at the right time. I've spoke in length on live streams about how we don't have enough players that are in the right place at the right time, and now Dominic Calvert-Lewin, for me, although he's very physical, although he's very strong, although he wins balls in the air, he's just not in the right place at the right time enough. However, he was twice on Saturday afternoon, and that's what's won us the game. A real tough away fixture, a real tough away game, and we've gone on and we've won it. And you know what, I'm actually quietly confident to take on Manchester City on New Year's Day now, because I feel like with their current form and obviously their current situation regarding the manager, losing Mikel Arteta, who's obviously the assistant and had a massive effect on the team, I'm actually quietly confident going into this game, going away from home, knowing that we have a manager that doesn't panic when he's away from home, knowing that we have a manager that isn't going to go 1-0 up away from home and go, right, stick 11 men behind the ball and let's just hold that out. A manager that can understand, right, okay, we're under the cosh a little bit here. Because Newcastle, in that first 20 minutes, Everton were much the better team. We had pretty much the entirety of the possession. We were creating the opportunities. Obviously we put the ball in the back of the net and we were working really, really hard. But as soon as they scored the equaliser, which was a poor goal to concede, let's be perfectly honest, it should have been defended an awful lot better. Gylfi Sigurdsson doesn't make any attempt to win the ball. As soon as they scored that equaliser, it flipped. As it does in football, momentum is a real thing, and momentum flipped, and Newcastle started to get more of the ball, they started to get more of the opportunities, and they were feeling their way into the game, and they were becoming more and more confident. Now, it would have been so easy for the manager at that point to just kept it as it is, and B, the only advice they'd give the players was to not concede again and stay tight defensively. But it was very clear that something that Carlo Ancelotti said in that changing room changed the way that Everton come out in that second half, because we come out in that second half and we absolutely nullified anything that Newcastle had to bring. We went on, we scored the winner, and we just controlled the game. It was a real professional display. We just calmed everything down, we kept it at a level, and we just, right, now we're doing this at our pace and we're controlling this game at our pace, and that's exactly what we've done, and we ended up winning the game. I'd say comfortably in the end. I would say comfortably, because I think it was a comfortable second half for Everton. Yet there was a few, chances here and there where Newcastle broke free. There was a couple of defensive errors, but I think for the majority of that second half, it was comfortable. Whereas in the last 20 minutes of the first half, you're thinking, is this going to be a typical Everton where we're going to, go 1-0 up, concede a goal, and then end up being beaten by 2 or 3. I really, really want to touch on Jordan Pickford's performance, Jabril Sidibe's performance, Mason Holgate's performance as well. We're going to talk about them later on the last scene. But yeah, like I said, for me, the difference maker between an away game under Carlo Ancelotti and an away game under somebody like Marco Silva or a previous manager is that experience and is that game management that Carlo Ancelotti very, very clearly has, because he managed that game to a T on Saturday, to an absolute T, and he managed those players to go out and go, you don't panic, you're the better side in the first 20 minutes, you had the more of the ball, you scored your goal, go out and do that again. And the lads went out and they done that again, and it was, like I said, it was comfortable in the end in the second half, and we went on and won the game. And now we're looking at 2 wins out of 2 for Carlo Ancelotti, 2 wins out of 2 for Everton in a real tough period. And all of a sudden, the game against Manchester City at the Etihad doesn't seem too scary, does it? Especially with the form that they're on. Yet, of course, we know it's Manchester City and they can turn up on any given day, especially at home, and beat anybody by any scoreline, regardless of who your manager is and who you've got. But I'm more confident going into this game than I was 2 or 3 weeks ago going into it, or than I was when Marco Silva was in charge going into it, because I'd be real interested to see how Carlo Ancelotti lines up and how he manages a game against the current champions who were so dominant last season. Alex says, yes Cam, yes Alex, hope you're doing well. Hazard says, alright Cam, how's you? I'm not too bad mate, hope you're doing well yourself. Jihad says, thoughts on Richarlison to United? It's never happening. Blue Army says, hi mate. JP says, I wise Cam, how you doing, mate? What you saying, I assume that means, don't know why I said was. Ziad says, hopefully being United fan, we sign Richarlison. No, he's going nowhere, mate. William Evans says, afternoon Blues, afternoon William. Alex says, United are really interested in Richarlison. And Hazard says, no chance you're getting Richarlison. I agree, absolutely no chance. Ziad says, 80 million, double it, and then double that, and then triple that, and you can have him on loan for 6 months. Max says, what are your thoughts on Everton being linked with James Rodriguez? Yeah, that's the latest link. You know, the other day it was Insigne, who apparently is unhappy at Napoli and wants to leave and wants to join up with Carlo Ancelotti. Now it's James Rodriguez, who is apparently unhappy where he is, and Carlo Ancelotti's a fan of him. It's going to be a different player every day, isn't it? And it was Zlatan Ibrahimovic before Ancelotti came, and it was a deal agreed and all that, and now he's just gone to AC Milan. So I'm not really getting me hopes up. I'm not thinking too much about it. Well, obviously we'll see more of these links, you know, as January is upon us. Obviously only a couple of days until the transfer window opens, and we'll see them all through January as well. So I'm not convinced it's a solid link yet, but it is definitely interesting. Ziad says apparently Ancelotti is trying to block the deal, which between Richarlison and Manchester United. I don't think Richarlison would leave anyway, to be honest with you, mate. I don't think Manchester United are much better than Everton either. Hernandez says, how great was it to watch the formation switches to impact the game? Such a great feeling, excited to watch us beat City in the red giant buzz. And again, it was absolutely game management at its best. Kev says, what a blue Kimbo, all the best Blues. Thank you very much, you too, Kev. Eric says, who are we playing against next? We play Manchester City on New Year's Day, and then we play Liverpool in the FA Cup on Sunday. Hazard says, you can have Nias if you want. Craig says, hello Cam, mate, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. I'm not doing too bad myself, mate. Hope you're doing well. Looks like good times ahead for being an Everton fan. What's your opinion on the James Rodriguez link, or will that be for another video? I don't think there's enough in it for another video. I think it's purely just a link that's come out of a source that may or may not be reliable, in the same way that the Zlatan Ibrahimovic link was a link, in the same way that Insigne's link, you know, a couple of days ago was a link. I don't think too much into it, to be honest with you. I'm not getting too excited. I think James Rodriguez is a very good footballer who would undoubtedly boost our squad and improve our squad, but I just don't think there's enough solidity in it. Solidity, is that a word? I don't think it's solid enough, basically, to discuss it at great length here. Hazard says Man City, Ziad says, and he can keep Niasi. Hernandez says, hope all is well, Cam. I'm not too bad myself, mate. Blue Army says, how long you steaming for, Cam? We'll see how long we go for. Eric says, wow, was surprised how good Ancelotti was tactically. I don't fault Marco Silva, the guy's like 40, had no experience, but Ancelotti tactically has the experience and he knows what he's doing, spot on. And Luke says, after 4 games, Moiskin starts, he's looked dangerous in this game. In my opinion, he did enough to deserve a start against Liverpool next week and then to get a consistent run. Yet we'll talk about Moiskin in just a bit. Ziad says centre-backs Everton should go for Rojo from United. Hopefully not, mate. Don't rate Rojo at all. Where are we? David says, shite one, add anything to us. Ziad says Rojo is a decent centre-back. Joel says, what's your prediction for City? I think it'll be 1-1. Yeah, I'd go maybe 2-2. I'm going to be off the fuck it. 2-1 Everton. I'm going to be optimistic. Probably getting a bit too ahead of myself there. Tom says Rowe is a no. I agree. That's because it's amazing how the mentality of this team has changed in a matter of a few weeks. They now believe they can win away from home when facing adversity, something unthinkable a month or so ago. Exactly, and that's what a change of manager brings to you. That's what bringing in a serial winner brings to you. And that's what, you know, somebody like Carlo Ancelotti, who was always going to bring that sort of mentality of it doesn't really matter who we're playing or how we're playing. Our aim is to win this game, and you're not intimidated by any team. And that's why I am quietly looking forward to, you know, the Merseyside derby. I wouldn't say I'm looking forward to it, that's probably the wrong word, but I'm a lot more confident going into this game than I have been going into a Merseyside derby at Anfield for absolute years. Even when we had better teams than Liverpool, even when we were on better form than Liverpool, we've never really had a manager that would go to Anfield and just think, you know what, it's just another game against another team, let's go out there and let's do what we've been doing. Because I think in previous years, if that had been the case, we'd have won at Anfield, but we haven't. We've had managers that have really played the occasion rather than the team, whereas I don't think Carlo Ancelotti will be like that. Anyway, going on to obviously Saturday's game, what a win it was, a fantastic 2-1 win. Nearly started really poorly, obviously, giving Newcastle the ball in the first 30 seconds wasn't great. They went down our end, blasted it over the bar. Wasn't wasn't the best bit of defending, wasn't the best bit of play. I think that was just a little bit of us being asleep at the start of the game. Like I said, I picked out a couple of performances that I thought were absolutely fantastic. Calvert-Lewin, you know, we don't need to sit here and talk about how good Calvert-Lewin is week in, week out. I've been a big fan of Dominic Calvert-Lewin for a while now. I think he's had an absolutely fantastic season so far. I know and I understand people saying he's come into his own since obviously Duncan Ferguson come in and since Carlo Ancelotti come in, and I think it will be wrong to disagree with that because I think that's very, very true. But I still think even under Marco Silva when he was played, you know, he started the season really, really positively under Marco Silva and then was just absolutely shunned out the squad for some weird reason. I think I think he's had a real good season overall, and again he added to that on Saturday. Another fantastic performance, another 2 goals, something that we were real critical of Dominic Calvert-Lewin last year, and obviously since we signed him, was that he just doesn't score enough. His work rate, you can never fault it. He's always tries his best. He always gives it 110%. His ability in the air, his ability to control the ball, he's just not in the right place at the right time and scoring enough. Whereas over the last couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, he has been in the right place at the right time and he has been scoring an awful lot of goals for us. And I think, you know, if he can keep that up and he can keep that consistently, then what a striker we have on our hands. Also, Richarlison's performance. I wanted to talk about Richarlison. It's the second week now that Richarlison hasn't scored. Obviously, he got an assist on Saturday against Newcastle, but he hasn't scored. And I think Richarlison's the type of player that a lot of fans expect to score. A lot of fans expect to be on the score sheet week in, week out. But I want to talk about Richarlison's work rate. Richarlison has played 90 minutes in pretty much, well, near enough 90 minutes. I think he's brought off against Burnley. Near enough 90 minutes in every one of the last, 4 or 5 games for Everton. And he's played a stupid amount, and yet he still runs his absolute bollocks off. He runs himself into the ground until the last minute. That lad never gives up. He never stops running. He's not lazy. He doesn't stand still. He gets himself about. And yet he might put himself on the floor a little bit too easy sometimes. And yet he might be a little bit indecisive when going forward. And he might pick the wrong ball at times. But one thing is for definite is on Saturday against Newcastle, he absolutely picked the right ball for Dominic Calvert-Lewin's second goal. And another thing for sure, he worked his absolute arse off from start to finish once again. The lad is absolutely unbelievable, and I've said this since he come in, you know, at the start of last season. When he doesn't have a fantastic game going forward, and when he's not particularly, creating opportunities going forward, he's definitely making up for it with his defensive work. And I think, you know, Richarlison's defensive work on Saturday was absolutely fantastic. He was getting back, he was making challenges, you know, at the edge of the box once again. Really, really good, positive challenges. He was winning the ball. I think Richarlison's become a real professional, and he's becoming more clued up to the Premier League week in, week out. There was an opportunity, I think it was towards the end of the game on Saturday, where the ball got lumped up into the air. We were 2-1 up. It was like 2 minutes to go, and Richarlison had the ball and he just stopped with it and he put his body around it and he won a foul. And doing that is so the importance of having the ability and having the footballing brain to say, within the last minute of a game, I'm just going to stand over this ball here, be pushed on the floor and win a foul, and ultimately win my team 30 seconds to a minute in the dying seconds of a game, which could be the difference between winning it and losing it, or winning it and drawing it. And Richarlison started to learn that over the last few weeks, and he's really starting to implement that. Not only that work rate of getting back, throwing himself about, putting tackles in, winning the ball, his defensive work is absolutely second to none. Obviously, his attacking work, we know how good that is. His goal scoring ability is fantastic, and his assist the other day was unbelievable as well. But that ability to stay calm in the last 30 seconds of a game, to not boot the ball up, to not try and go on a wonder run and score, a solo goal, which may end up in the other team coming back at you and countering you. His ability to just say, hang on, we've got a minute left of this game. I'm bloody knackered as it is because I've ran my arse around for 90 minutes, so I'm just going to stand here, shelter the ball and wait for someone to knock me over. And that's what he done a couple of times on Saturday, and he done that a couple of times in the last seconds. Lo and behold, Newcastle players come over, they knocked them over, we won the foul, and we went up the other end and ultimately won the game. And I really think Richarlison's work rate over the last 2 or 3 weeks, especially since Duncan Ferguson's come in, I think there was a lot of Evertonians that feared, including myself, that obviously once Marco Silva left, how would Richarlison react? Richarlison's been absolutely full of praise for Marco Silva ever since he got the Everton job, ever since Richarlison come in, said, goes as far as to say he's his dad in football, and he sees him as a dad in football. Obviously, Richarlison and Marco Silva's relationship, it's there to see. It's absolutely blatant. I think a lot of Evertonians were a little bit worried about how Richarlison would react to the news of Marco Silva being sacked, and whether his performances would drop and whether his work rate would drop, but they haven't. If anything, they've increased massively, and you can see he's really excited to play under a manager like Carlo Ancelotti. And you can see Richarlison, for me, his only interest is Everton Football Club and us Evertonians and trying his absolute hardest for Everton Football Club. And if there was any Evertonians that may have thought, you know, he might only be interested in Marco Silva or himself, I think that's absolutely being squashed now, because he's proven over the last 2 or 3 weeks that that lad will work his absolute arse off week in, week out. And like I said, it might go a little bit unnoticed because he's not scoring him, you know, match of the day and you know, all of these highlight shows will only give him praise if he's scoring goals. But I think it's important that we as Evertonians don't let his work go unnoticed, and we praise him when praise is due, and he was absolutely fantastic the other day, especially with his defensive work. Mason Holgate again as well. That lad surprised me week in, week out. Not only another absolutely fantastic defensive performance in the centre of defence, again, really, really solid. Again, playing next to a player in Michael Keane who's lacking confidence, who isn't, you know, at his best, let's say. Mason still looks calm, cool, collected when he's on the ball, when he's having to win headers. He looks real confident. Not only that, but then having to go over to left back, of course, towards the end of the game. Done an absolutely fantastic job there. Mason Holgate over the last 2 or 3 weeks has played centre half, centre midfielder, and left back. Now that's two positions that he's not used to playing, and has hardly played before. He's played right back before. To my knowledge, he's never played centre midfield, and he's never played left back, and he played them as if he was an absolute natural. Again, on Saturday against Newcastle, he stepped into that left back role, and he looked absolutely fantastic. He slotted right in, and like I said, he was brilliant again. Another unbelievable performance by Mason Holgate, another fantastic performance by the three: Mason Holgate, Calvert-Lewin, and I think Tom Davies was quite solid as well. On Saturday, again, another player similar to Richarlison, who's learned the art of, in the last 15-20 seconds of a game to a minute, when you've got that ball, just shield it. Either get to the corner or shield it and make sure that if anybody gets the ball, they're taking you first and winning a foul. And that's so important in modern day football. Jordan Pickford as well. I want to mention Jordan Pickford before I go back into the live comments. Jordan Pickford was he was the player, arguably in last year's Premier League fixture at St James's Park, that some would argue would lost us the game of football. Obviously, we were 2-0 up in that game. Newcastle come back to win it 3-2. And Jordan Pickford was notorious for him having a go at the crowd, laughing at the crowd, smiling to the crowd, basically playing up to being the pantomime villain. We know the story there. He played for Sunderland. He's Sunderland born and bred. Newcastle don't like that. They give him shitloads of stick every time they come to Goodison, or every time we go to St James's Park. And last year he played up to that. He played up to the pantomime villain sort of character. He was clapping them, he was sarcastically smiling at them, he was laughing at them, and he made two real big headers, which ultimately led us to lose that game of football, and then fans having the last laugh. I just want to give a massive special shout out to Jordan Pickford on Saturday. I thought his performance was as mature as you're gonna get, and people have been very critical of Jordan Pickford in recent weeks, and rightly so at times as well. His decision making has been poor, and even in recent weeks, his engagement with the crowd and smiling and sarcastically laughing could be, avoided. Let's be perfectly honest. But if there was one game Jordan Pickford knew in himself that he couldn't make those same mistakes again, and it was Newcastle away from home. Not only because of the embarrassment of what happened last year and the fact that he had to live with that around his, I dare say, his friend group and his family, but also because of the effect that had on Evertonians and the effect that had on Everton Football Club. It was a game where we completely capitulated. We were 2-0 up, and we lost it, and obviously lost the game in the end. And I think that was a game that a lot of people, it was a big red flag in a lot of people's mind for why Marco Silva shouldn't be the Everton manager. But a lot of it was on Jordan Pickford. But Jordan Pickford's performance last Saturday was so mature. He kept his head. He didn't get involved with the crowd. He didn't sarcastically laugh. He didn't sarcastically smile. Every time he picked the ball up, they were booing him. They were, cheering, singing absurd songs about him. They were absolutely giving him as much stick as possible, because their aim was to, again, get under his skin, get him to react, and force him to make them mistakes like they did last season. But he didn't give in to any of it. He kept his cool head. He kept calm. He ignored the crowd. He made a couple of real good saves. Obviously, he conceded, but it's not really his fault. And ultimately, he was on the winning side. And I think that would be a much better feeling, being on the winning side at the end of the day, than it was last season, when he was touting them and he was laughing at them, and ultimately he come away. Obviously, they come away smiling, and he didn't. So a big shout out for Jordan Pickford for what I think was a real calm, cool performance. And I was quick to jump on Jordan Pickford last season when his performance against Newcastle at St James's Park was poor and it wasn't good enough. So I think it's only fair that I give him praise when it is good enough. If you're enjoying this team so far, far, by the way, please do hit that like button. It only takes a second. And if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. Obviously, we play Manchester City on New Year's Day. We'll have the live game preview out to that on New Year's Eve tomorrow. It'll be live streamed at around 3 p.m. So make sure you're around then for the full live game preview. We'll also have a video out tomorrow giving my given my Everton team of the last 10 years. So obviously tomorrow marks the end of a decade, the end of the 10s, if you want to call it the 10s, going into the 20s. So it'll, for me, I'm going to give my best Everton team of the last 10 years. There's some interesting players in there. I've made the team. It's down here on my pad below. So we're going to film that video. We're going to go through my team. We're going to give the reasons as to why I picked the players I picked. We're also going to give my favourite Everton goal of the last 10 years. And then obviously it's open for discussion in the comment section down below for you to leave your best Everton 11s of the last 10 years, as well as your favourite goal scored by an Everton player in the last 10 years as well. So that video will be out at some point tomorrow as well for you to a little bit of easy watching before the countdown tomorrow night. And then, like I said, obviously we'll be live at 3 p.m. with the live game preview to the Manchester City game. A massive game, and a game that I am quietly confident going into. Anyway, let's get back into the live comments. Hazard says, is right, hopefully another winner versus City and the shite. Yeah, definitely. Blue Army says, is the title race over? Pardon me. I fear it is, but, with football, I don't know. I fear it is, to be honest with you, yeah. Hazard says, only because of VAR corrupt. Yeah, I'd agree. Ziad says it was done in October. VAR is a disgrace, so they need to sort it out. Spot on, couldn't agree more. Eugene says, what do you think of David Moyes becoming the West Ham United manager yesterday? I think it's a good appointment for West Ham, to be honest with you. He done okay when he was there last time. He done some real good things for them. He also lost a few games that arguably should have won. But for the position that West Ham are currently in, for the state that they're currently in as a football club, I think it's a good appointment. Pardon me again, got a little bit of a cough. Aldram says, have you seen the James Rodriguez rumours? I have. Don't know what to make of them at the minute. JP says, would say DCL just needs to improve on his shooting now. If he can bang a few in the top bins, that'll convince the more conservative fans who want a new striker that he's class and we need. He'll have to do that then first, won't he? David says, the squad has quality players. That's widely recognised. We need a few additions to push on. Tactically, we are changing, but that'll take some time. I agree, spot on. Aldran says, we could build a European side under Ancelotti. We certainly could. Mac and Cheese says, alright lad, alright mate, I'll be doing well. He says, I'm so proud of Holgate. I don't know what's happened to him, but he's just being class. The fact that he doesn't defend, he doesn't just defend, he doesn't just defend. He runs into the opposition half and wins corners and all. Boss, exactly. Again, another player playing with confidence. We spoke about the importance of Dominic Calvert-Lewin playing with confidence and how Carlo Ancelotti is breathing that confidence to Calvert-Lewin by saying, listen, you are a very good player. You need to keep it up. If you work in a bread factory and you've got Mr. Warburton saying you're a proper belter bread maker, you're going to think, you know what, I'm a proper belter bread maker, me, and you're going to make the best bread you've ever made. And it's a similar situation with Calvert-Lewin. He's got arguably one of the best managers to ever manage, in this sport, saying to him that he's going to be a real good striker. So that's breeding confidence and it's showing on the pitch. And I dare say it's a very similar situation with Mason Holgate as well. A fantastic young player that's playing with confidence and his performances are showing that. So yeah, James Rodriguez has done at the top level. Maybe he is, but maybe he's a good enough player for the transition between the level we're at and the top level. Corn Van Pletzen says, how's it, Cam? How's it going, man? I'm not too bad, mate. Hope you're doing well yourself. David says, Rodriguez was never top level, just had a good World Cup. Mac and Cheese says, double it again, triple it, have him on loan for 6 months. Love it, lad. Exactly, mate, exactly. Ziad says, Ancelotti, hang on, where have I gone? Where have I gone? Totally lost out on the comments there. Sorry, let me get back into... Let's get back into the live comments because I've got loads to go through. Ziad says, Ancelotti brought him into Madrid. That's why the link's to Everton. It is. Dosbick says, James Rodriguez is a great player, but his form fluctuates massively. I remember him at Bayern. He had a good few games and then 2 or 3 bad games in a row for sure. Inconsistent. He'd work at Everton then. Jeff says, James Rodriguez to Everton is an interesting one. He's rarely underperformed, but the potential of him is immense. And his best buddy Yeri at the club, he could really enjoy it here. Spot on. David says Insigne is a baller, to be fair. If we can get him though, I've heard he's happy in Italy. He is, definitely. Lava says, if you were forced to only have one player in January, who would you pick? A centre defender or a centre midfielder? Midfielder at the minute. Corn says, don't you just think West Ham and Arsenal are just terrible teams at the minute? I can see West Ham going down. What's your thoughts? Hard to disagree, mate. I agree. Drew says, Holgate has been the best centre-back for 2 or 3 seasons. If you've watched him closely, you can see he's had it in his locker. He's another young youth player mismanaged. I think he's come along since his loan spell at West Brom, if I'm being honest with you. And I think he's improved drastically in the last 2 or 3 seasons, but there's always been that potential there. Dosbig says solidity, that's the word I was looking for. Mac and Cheese says, yeah, James Rodriguez seems class, but we need a centre-back or two. Get Keane out and bring a young centre-back in. Fair point. Mark says, need to see our fans buzzing again. Big Duncan Carlo, what a combination. Odran says, we were linked with Koulibaly. We can only dream. Lavert says, glad you used the word squad. Squads win trophies, not 11s. Exactly. Drew says, I agree, mate. Eric says, it's important that we don't get ahead of ourselves. It is, but it's hard not to at the minute. Hazard says, that's what I put 2-1 Everton. And he got it right. Where are we? Eric says, really feel sorry for West Ham. Fair point. Corn says, would you rather finish top 4 this season or win the FA Cup? Win the FA Cup. Gord says, we need to get rid of Keane. He's just been crap lately. Drew says, Moyes is sound. He says, Moyes back again. Tell a friend. And Anders says, I hope the club do more to portray Ancelotti in a good light, unlike Silva, that seldom had interviews or put him in the spotlight to gain some support from supporters. Done seeing Klopp everywhere. Me too, mate. David says, I take 8th in the FA Cup. After our start, still need 4 wins to be safe. God says ahead. Everton is interested in Todibo from Barcelona. Good young player, I'd take him. And Anders says, if you're in here talking and asking questions, go and give it a like the video. Thank you very much, and Anders, really do appreciate that. Yes, if you can like the video, that'll be absolutely unbelievable. And if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe as well. So yeah, like I said, a fantastic performance by everybody really that put an Everton shirt on Saturday. Dominic Calvert-Lewin again, 2 really, really good goals. Mason Holgate, Jordan Pickford, Jabril Sidibe as well, I thought was fantastic. Again, a real solid performance, obviously coming back into right back, taking over from Seamus Coleman, and then ended up going, to right midfield towards the end of the game. I thought, again, another real mature performance. Jabril Sidibe becoming a player that I think it's necessary that we sign for, considering the clause in his current contract states that we can sign him for under £20 million. I think we just need to get that deal done, to be honest with you. A fantastic right back, fantastic player going forward. He's proven over the last 2 games that he can both play at right back and right midfield. And again, another real solid performance on Saturday. Moise Keane, I want to talk about Moise Keane for just a second, because personally I felt that was Moise Keane's best performance in an Everton shirt on Saturday. Only his 3rd start for Everton. He looked confident. He looked up for it. Yes, he didn't score. He didn't get an assist, but he was getting himself about. He was putting himself about. He was creating opportunities, and he was again playing with confidence. And Moise Keane's a player that's only going to improve. As soon as he scores his first goal, because that's going to be the massive confidence boost. He's like a bubble. As soon as he pops and he gets that first goal, he's going to go off. However, until he gets that first goal, it's important that, again, the manager is breathing confidence into the player, is giving him a consistent run in the team, and is allowing him to run about, put himself about, and have an impact on the game without directly scoring or assisting. And I thought it was probably his best performance in an Everton shirt, if I'm being honest with you, on Saturday. Yeah, obviously, a very, very interesting stat. More shots in the last 2 games than any other Premier League side. I believe it's 43 shots in the last 2 games, which again just shows the impact of bringing in a positive attacking manager like Carlo Ancelotti, who obviously has come in. He's given that confidence to the lads, and the lads have gone out and they've shown that. Obviously, the game plan in every single game is to go out and win the game of football, and it'll be really, really interesting to see how he adapts and whether he changes that when we're coming up against the likes of Manchester City away from home and Liverpool away from home, or whether it is the same game plan and we see a similar performance on New Year's Day and of course on Sunday against Newcastle. I just want to address something as well that I've seen recently in online and on social media and on Twitter. I say recently, over the last 2 days, is Newcastle fans seeming to think that the foul on Leighton Baines for the free kick that led to the first goal wasn't a foul. It's absolutely a foul, 100%, all day long. There's in no way, in any light, is it not a foul. It's a clear foul. Leighton Baines gets, barged into gets nowhere near the ball. He gets jumped into, and it's a foul. And obviously, Gylfi Sigurdsson takes the free kick. It's not the greatest free kick, is it? Let's be perfectly honest. But it goes into the danger area, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin's there to put it away. But I just find it funny that on social media, you've got all of these Newcastle fans that seemingly think it wasn't a foul, or it's ridiculous, or Lee Mason's made an awful decision, or VAR has affected them again. Where in reality, the lad jumps into Leighton Baines, gets nowhere near the ball, puts Leighton Baines on his heart, and it's a foul. It's never a 50-50 because he's not looking at the ball and he doesn't win the ball. Therefore, it's a foul. So yeah, I just wanted to attest that. But anyway, overall, what was a a fantastic Everton performance, especially in the second half. Like I said, started the game really, really brightly, other than the first 30 seconds. And then first 20 minutes, I thought we were absolutely fantastic. Struggled as soon as Newcastle got back into the game. To give them the due, Andy Carroll was an absolute nuisance for us all game. I think we struggled to defend against him. We struggled to win balls in the air against him. But for the majority of the time, where if he was winning the ball, we made sure that whoever was coming on the end of it, had no time to do anything with it. Obviously, they scored the goal. They then were, I'd say, with a better team in the last 20 minutes of the first half, and then it was all about Carlo Ancelotti's team talk and how he changed that game. And I particularly remember thinking, Carlo Ancelotti will be the manager going into this dressing room that thinks he's got something to do. It won't be Steve Bruce. Steve Bruce will think, keep doing what you're doing, keep going at them, and you'll get the second goal. And they'll probably fall to bits after that. Carlo Ancelotti was the manager that needed to breathe a positive team talk to his team, and that's exactly what he done. And we came out and we managed the second half fantastically and ultimately won the game. And again, like I said at the start of the last team, 2 wins in 2 for Carlo Ancelotti, 2 fantastic wins, 2 fantastic performances by the likes of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Mason Holgate, Jabril Sidibe, and obviously really nice to see the likes of Moise Keane coming in and putting in a good performance, and Jordan Pickford keeping his head after what happened last season. And again, we go on now to New Year's Day against Manchester City, which I am quietly confident about, if I'm being perfectly honest. I think that we can get something out of this game. Listen, I'm not going to be ahead of myself and say, City have been in poor form and we've won our last 2, so we're going to go out and we're going to win, or we're going to blow them away, or we're going to batter them. I think it'd be stupid to say that, but, you have to look at form and you have to look at current performances, and at the minute, Manchester City aren't in the greatest, run of form. They've struggled at times this season. They haven't had the best run of luck either, with referees and with VAR, etc. And I think with the run that we're on, with the confidence that our lads are playing in, because that's what it's about, isn't it? It's about confidence. It's about the confidence that Dominic Calvert-Lewin has going into the game against Manchester City, the confidence that Mason Holgate has going into the game against Manchester City, the confidence that Richarlison has going into the game against Manchester City. It's all about how those players portray that confidence on the pitch, and how Carlo Ancelotti manages the game again, because he managed the Newcastle game fantastically well. The man management, the game management was second to none. It was spot on. It'll be interesting to see how he manages the game against Manchester City, and then the derby next week. 2 real tough games coming up, and it'll be really interesting to see. This time next week, the live game review next week, we'll be talking about, well, we'll be talking about the Liverpool game, but we'll have witnessed the Manchester City game and we'll have witnessed the derby, and we'll be talking about those 2 results, so hopefully it's as positive as it is today. Anyway, let's get back into the live comments so we don't miss out on any of them. Zia says, I think Marco Silva would have kept West Ham up, should have gone for him. Maybe. Mac and Cheese says, Tedido seemed class, almost like another Holgate. I really like the combination of Holgate and Yerry Mina at the minute. I think whoever the next centre-back is to come in, if it is a centre-back, they have to understand that they're probably going to be a backup. They're probably going to be a number 4 or a number 3 to Holgate and Yerry Mina. Ziad says, hopefully in the summer, Sky Sports. No, let's not hope that. Richarlison's going nowhere, Ziad. Whammy says, Cam lad, how you doing, Whammy? Mac and Cheese says, I love when Richie moans and sulks when he gets taken off. Shows that he wants to stay on the pitch and score. Spot on, mate. Jack says, player of the month, definitely. If not, I'm fuming. I agree. I assume you're talking about Calvert-Lewin or Holgate there, either one. Whammy says, Richarlison signed until 2024. Zia says, contacts me nothing. They don't, but he's going nowhere. David says, 80 million plus Martial, then we'll think about it. I wouldn't even do that deal, mate, to be honest with you. Ziad says, United are a big club, they can attack Richarlison. They're a big club, but they're not a big team anymore. Ziad says, why would you go to Man U? Yeah, it's just an argument about Man United. He's not going to Manchester United, let's be perfectly honest. Wayne makes a good point about Haaland there. Or Haaland, however you say it. Manchi says, no as a player like Richarlison, Solskjaer and Ancelotti. Jack says, I seen that Mane goalie on boarded in the VAR screwed Wolves over like us. They did, and Liverpool should never have won that game yesterday, but that's what VAR does for them. Huden says, BT Sports is all New Year's games in the Premier League in the 1st and 2nd of January. Thank you very much. Mac and Cheese says, Everton a club with more ambition, better fans, better manager and a new stadium. I agree. Jake says, you can tell since Duncan Carlo took charge, they've really added the goalpost to style to Dom's game, as well as him being a hold-up striker. Spot on. Really good comments. Couldn't agree more with that. When says it's Man U with a time machine, I'm not going to go into the United talk. Where are we? Ewan says, do you think West Ham United will be in the Championship next season under David Moyes? I don't think they'll get relegated, but they're definitely in with a shot of being relegated, and I think they need to sort that out quickly. Wayne says Moyes will keep them up. I agree. Wayne says good defensive manager. There was great points. I agree. Spot on. Where are we? Ziad says, I respect Everton because we both hate Liverpool. We do. David says, yeah, we don't do prawn sandwiches. Gord says, I prefer live or shite. It's my nickname for Liverpool. Exactly. David says, at least Ziad talks sense. Wimmy says, what about Pep Guardiola? They've had a fair share of VAR decisions as well, to be fair. Eugene says, Leicester City will catch Liverpool and win the title. I hope so. John says, Cameron, you should be on Toffee. I assume that means TV. You, mate. Nice one. Love your channel. Keep it up. Thank you very much. Really do appreciate that. Chad says, to that Liverpool. Whammy says, is that why they're winning the league? Really? I think they're a good team. I think they're a fantastic team, to be honest with you. But I think they've been helped. Although it kills me to say that. Where are we? Jeff says, Holgate has been a big surprise for me. He's improved so much in no time. Seemingly in the last month or so, he's gone to the next level. I agree 100%. Couldn't disagree with that. Tom says, I wonder how much Klopp pays the officials. Let's not get bitter now. Mahji says, nice that Sammy a fan, but his family are Coppites. Who are we talking about here? Michael Oliver? Yeah, he is. Mac and Cheese says, no, David, wasn't that first Liverpool game he managed something mad like that. Evertonian TV says, Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year to you too. Except Liverpool fans. Tory snakes, fathers, crocodiles and orange kickers. Hazard says, I heard can get Sidibe for 14 million, not sure if two. Up the F and Toffees, yes. Hopefully first goal against the shite, yes. His buyout clause, or there's a clause in his contract to say that we can make the deal permanent for around 14-15 million euro, that is true. Tom says, get Sidibe Sam, we still need a good, strong, pacey midfielder. Spot on. And says, don't you agree bringing David Moyes in a show is not showing ambition? I do agree, but you know, West Ham are in the same position as us, I would say. Dave says, who cares? Not our problem. Hazard says, everyone please like the live team. Thank you very much, Hazard. Yeah, if you could like the live team, it would mean a massive amount to me. Ziad says, should have gone for Kovac, potentially. Ian says, if Keane turned up for training on time, it would have helped him. He could be good having an Italian manager. We only know of an occasion that's happened once, so let's give him the benefit of the doubt. David says, Andy Carroll has wasted his talent. Wormy says, he is a 19-year-old Italian rich kid. Exactly. David says, Ziad, I'm on an Everton channel, conversing with other Evertonians. I'm not going to go into the Tory talk. Doctor says, how do you like the new Carlo Magnifico, etc. chant? I think it's unbelievable. Ian says, DCL confidence must be sky high at the minute, and him and Charles have a great partnership. I agree. Dosby says it feels good to be rich with Machete being her money man. It does. Lavin says I'm inclined to say Richarlison was a winger, but do you see him as a poacher? I see him as a striker, to be honest with you now. Ziad says defenders Everton should go for. Jack says we need to rotate versus Liverpool. I think we'll rotate versus City and Liverpool, to be honest with you. 1878 ST says, Callum, I keep saying I'm not into DCL and calling him shit. He's been superb last 5 games. Just need goals from every game to change my mind. Great show, all the best, mate. Thank you very much. And I agree. He has been fantastic the last 5 games, and hopefully he does change your mind. Thompson says Machete isn't the money man. Potentially Usmanov, isn't it? Let's be honest. Jeff says, what's great at the moment is the age of our players. Keane 19, Davis 20, Richarlison and DCL 22, Pickers 25. They all have 10 years at the top level, at least ahead of them. Spot on. G. Carlin says, United trying to get the best players all the time. Why don't we tell them to F off for the next 5 years? They're not getting Richarlison. It's not happening, so let's not worry about it. Eugene says, Keane will score this weekend. I hope so. Ziad says, thoughts on Gay doing a PSG? An absolutely world-class player. I'll give you the teaser. He will be in my Everton team of the last decade, and I think he's doing really, really well. Ziad says we take Lingard, not a chance. And Dosbick says, who is it then if it's not Mosh David? Not Machete for sure. I think we're getting at the fact that it's Usmanov, but it's also Machete. Arteta says, hello Cam, hope you had a good Christmas, fella. You're doing the Devil's Den on Sunday. Thank you very much. I did have a really, really good Christmas. I hope you did too. I'm not going, but I will be watching it, probably in my bedroom under my quilt. And Wilson says, way. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's live stream. If you have enjoyed, please do hit that like button. It means an absolute massive amount to me. If you're new to the channel as well, please do subscribe. It only takes a second. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at MightyBluesYT to keep up to date with all of the latest Everton news and information. Like I said, we'll have the live game preview, live stream tomorrow at 3 PM on New Year's Eve. So don't forget to join us at 3 PM tomorrow to talk about the game on New Year's Day. I give my predicted start 11, of course, and we'll go through why I am quietly confident going into this game against Manchester City. We'll also have my best Everton team of the last decade out, as well as the best Everton goal I've witnessed in the last 10 years. That'll be out at some point tomorrow. It'll be a video, so don't forget to look out for that one and get involved in the comment section down below with that one. Give me your best Everton 11s of the last decade, as well as your best Everton goal in the last decade. Jeff says, no to Lingard, 0 assists, 0 goals in 2019. Gay doing us proud of PSG. Spot on. Sauce already, I'm confident in Carlo than any other manager in the past. He's very adaptable manager and is tactically diverse and intelligent, unlike the stubborn managers we've had recently. Spot on. 1878 says, Jeff, great point there. Exactly. Jack says, City are divers. David says, not Machete. Ziyad says, Lingard to Everton. No chance, mate. You couldn't pay me to have Lingard. Dosbrick says, doesn't reading out so many comments make you tired, Camp? Doesn't. God says, Baines and Coleman played the first Everton game of the decade and also the last Everton game of the decade. They did, and how good does that feel? Ziyad says, thoughts on the fact that Liverpool come in the league at Goodison Park. Horrible, and I don't want to think about it, but hopefully we can stop them. Eugene says, see you bye, up the toffees, 3 points this Wednesday against Manchester City. Yes, thank you very much for getting involved, Eugene, as per usual. 1870 says, like button, yeah, thank you very much. Jeff says, great shout, goals, quality lads, both, yep. G. Collins says, pundit saying Carlo mid-table best we can hope for after 1 week. Yeah, just don't even listen to them, they don't know what they're talking about. Ian says, ain't Richarlison just signed a new contract, happy new year, can have a few drinks, as we all do, will do, and he has just signed a new contract, so let's not worry about him. Zia says she took Stradlin. Jeff says pundits talk shit. I agree. I absolutely agree. Spot on. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's live stream. If you have enjoyed, like I said, please do hit that like button. Like I said, look out for all of the content over the next couple of days. Live game, preview, live streamed on the channel at 3 PM tomorrow. So don't forget to join us then to get involved with the discussion. And obviously we'll have that my Everton team of the last 10 years out at some point tomorrow as well. Jack says, if Sig doesn't perform, haven't. I assume you may get rid. I'd agree. And he says, Richarlison coming United. Mark my words. He's not, mate. He's not. But you can see him, can't you? You can see him. You could do with a player like Richarlison because he'd be head and shoulders better than anybody you've got at the minute. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's live stream. Please hit that like button if you have enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new as well. Don't forget to join us live tomorrow at 3 PM, like I said. And obviously look out for that best 11 video at some point throughout the day as well. Big thanks for watching. Leave a like if you have enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.